I've been in a hurry since I don't know when. Gotta bring it on back, start over again. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins a race. Yeah, slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins the race. Well, I got me a woman, yeah, she's better than most. Yeah, I get the space I need to really cut loose. Yeah, she slows it on down to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins the race. You slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins a race. You slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins the race. Yeah, slow it down. Slow it on down, guys. Good vibes on you. Always good vibes. Always good vibes on to all of my beautiful people out there. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. My name is Guy. Welcome to Creating Change. That was a little song I wrote called Slow It On Down. I try to live by it these days. Not that you can tell by the way I'm talking, but yeah, man. Good evening, everybody. This is This Week in Review. This evening, we're going to be talking about Maduro. Man, he got captured and kind of hits home for all of us. I think all of us have been affected by the drugs in this country for years, and anything we can do to help stem that, I'm in support of, as long as it's you know, bringing it to an end. So, but just gonna share my feelings on that, and I speak from what you can see throughout the day and what you hear, and in things that I'm interested in. I look up and I learn more about before I open my mouth about them, and I try to look at things from as both perspectives as best as I possibly can. But I'm also man enough to stand for what I think. And that's just the way I approach it. So, welcome everybody. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, share if you feel so led. If not, I don't care. Just appreciate you guys being here. Chime in the chat. I'll get over here, get caught up, say hi to everybody. I see you, Indigo. Happy New Year. I see you. Thanks for being here, Mimi Bear. I see you. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Slim Shell, shout out to you. And we got Brother Clint in the house. Shout out to you, man. Hey, there's Sister Jimena. What's up? Yeah, man. Happy New Year's. Getting back going Wednesday around 9ish. Gonna be trying to be on at 9 or right at 9 in the evening time every Wednesday until further notice. And that's the way I'm gonna do it. And then of course I'm gonna keep on doing my videos and stuff like that. And I appreciate all of you just kind of being patient with me and let me clear my head. As I said to you guys in the last live stream before we get started on our topic, I can't rightfully say to somebody take a break if I'm not willing to stand at that. And I felt like I needed a small break. I needed a chance to clear my head, figure out what I want to do, how I want to do it, hence the name YouTube. And that's what I did. And I don't have no apologies for it. It made me feel good. I was able to get a breath, figure out which angle I wanted to come at things from, and that's where I'm going with it. So, yeah, man, I just appreciate all you guys coming back and hanging out with me. I can look over and see in the blue. I just know it's people that's been here. So, shout out to you guys if you haven't already. Chime in. Appreciate you being here. Everybody's welcome. Yeah, man. I just wanted to touch on Maduro getting caught. Golly, dude. Uh, if anything, I bet there wasn't nobody laying their head down over there that was involved in any of that crap in any kind of way after they went in and yoked him up out there. I'm just saying, if I'd have been part of his crew, there wouldn't have been nowhere I laid my head down that I'd have been feeling like it was a good idea to lay my head down there. Whoa. But man, it's no secret. It's not like I know we've got two sides of this here in the United States and 3 and 4 different sides most of the time. But you got these sides battling over, well, it wasn't the right way to go in and do it. It wasn't the right way to do this. It wasn't right. Man, it got done. Now, you know, we can all agree that the way that these people were treated and the way that he treated his people was not right. And the way that he was treating Americans by thinking that it was cool to just send that kind of crap over here and keep sending it and keep sending it and getting fair warning, fair warning. Man, there was a $50 million bounty on that dude's head that Biden put on there. And man, I wish I knew how to get him. You know what I mean? But it took the United States military to do it, and they're the only ones that could have done it. Shout out to them, man. Outstanding job. And man, you talk about hero, you know, they're all heroes, and that sort, just being men or women enough to even think about, you know, doing that kind of stuff. So shout out to them, and I'm glad that everything turned out in a way where that man could see his justice, and the people that he did wrong over the years maybe get to go home and maybe get to start. Maybe this is that. I don't know if it fixes anything. Hell, what do I know? But what I do know is it took that one problem out. That's a fact. And I can get down with that. And I think there's enough life on that man's hands in from my perspective that he's got it coming to him. And he got the best justice there is, which is the American justice system. He's going to get his day, and he's going to have to answer for the things that he's indicted for and he's been charged with. So, and coming at it from a personal standpoint, which is the way I try to weave all my content, and the way that I bring all subjects in my life and on live stream, just in general. Man, I was affected by by the whole drug epidemic, and it wasn't necessarily, cocaine, but everything was wrapped up in everything. It was all involved, and of course, that was years ago. But I mean, heck, it wasn't that many years ago that he wasn't part. That all that crap wasn't a part of it. So, I just hope that in some way that it's a way that we the best way to start helping people kick some of that crap is to not have it. And maybe this is one step in making sure that it's a hell of a lot harder to get it into people's hands and let them hurt themselves. So, you know, that's how I feel about it. I don't know about all the legality stuff because I don't claim to be a doctor or lawyer or Indian chief or any of that. But what I do claim to be is an American, full blooded. And from just my angle, from just a common man view, well, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And you got it coming. You got it coming. And from my angle, it seems to me like you're getting the best deal out of all of it. Because justice can look like many different things. And at least you wound up in the American people's hands where you'll get a fair shake and you'll be treated with some dignity. Even though you're in prison, you will be treated with some sort of respect. I've been there. It ain't that bad. Just it's long. No matter how long you do, it's long, and for you, it's gonna be a lot longer. Uh, but you'll have a spot to lay your head and everything. So just shut up, take it. But that's just coming at it from a common man sense kind of view. Like I don't like to see loss of life. I don't like to see people die in any type of way. I hate that kind of stuff in any type of manner like that. So I'm glad that he was able to be brought in without a bunch of crazy stuff thus far, and let's just pray that things can work out for those folks. They're fine people, and they deserve to have an opportunity to use the resources that their country has that they're rich in to help the people, and not just a small, tiny, itty bitty portion of those of people. Not but help the folks get to work, get to doing stuff, man. Yeah, yeah, I see the words that you write, and I get it, man, and I get that everybody has a viewpoint. I don't call it kidnapping. I call it an arrest warrant served. They served one on me, and if my wife would have been guilty of stuff, she'd have got one too. And from what I understand, she's a pretty smart lady, so she could have been smart enough to take the deals that was offered. That they could have just rolled out and quit this crap, put a stop to it, and they didn't. So life partner, I guess till death do they part, and that's the way it'll be for them. Of course, it'll be through pen pal and stuff. I guess at this point, I don't know. Maybe they do text and everything. Hey, Miss Patty, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we were talking about Maduro, and I know his wife got arrested, but she ain't no little innocent hatchling flapping around with all new wings and stuff. Just because her name is fresh in everybody's head, because they ain't been shit, just because the light ain't been on her doesn't mean that she didn't have some mind in it. And I'm about justice. And if she ain't guilty, then she'll get to go on back to the house, I reckon. But right now, she's in a pickle. And she's got the best attorneys that money can buy. I couldn't afford to have them. And so she'll be fine. She has best chance here of getting proper justice. And I lean in on that. I believe that. I know there's always going to be those instances you can say, what if? Well, if this were fists, we'd all be drunk. And we can play that game back and forth. If, well, what if, well, what? Hey, man, look, that was the axis of some evil stuff that was coming into our country. And whether you like it or not, there's repercussions for things that you do. And when you play those stupid games and you put people's lives in danger, to me, if I ain't man or woman enough, depending on my gender, there is only two. Now, if my wife is an ignorant enough woman to sit in there on that couch knowing that I'm sending a bunch of shit out to kill people and doing it over and over and over again, and she doesn't do nothing or say nothing or help try to put a stop to it, then well, she needs to get some silver bracelets too. And anybody else that was in the circle that knew of that didn't start trying to cash in on that $50 million bounty. You had a $50 million chance to have your chance to spill the beans, get him out of there, and you didn't. Well, now you can get some of that good old cold hard sell too. It fits women just like it fits men. You'll get used to that concrete dampness. It'll go. Your bones will kind of just start hurting and never stop, and you'll be fine. You numb up to it. You'll have plenty of money, get ibuprofen, stuff like that, probably. So for those of us that was in there like, oh hell, I didn't have money to buy ibuprofen. I just had to kind of tough it up. But so they'll be fine. I just agree with justice. And you can put these lofty names in the ones that, like I say, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it kidnapping if that's what makes you feel good about the explanation. I call it arrest warrant served. We can both be right. Either which way, what's done be done. And that goes on both sides. So now he gone. She gone. And they should have took the generous offer that was on the table, the many generous offers that was on the table. And if you're not a person enough then to oust somebody like that, if you're on the inner circle and you had a way of being able to give information to get that man out of there and you didn't, then you deserve to get what you got coming too. Shout out to him. My biggest prayer now is now to me, I put him in the Chronicles of History, to be right with Lance. It was just, that was something to talk about. And the same for her. She's in the Chronicle of History to me. Because there's definitely enough that they've done. They ought to be in there for several years, regardless. So I can just, as a human being, I can stop that. Like there's powers that be that'll take care of them. Now the focus for me is my prayers for the Venezuelan people and the people that call that place home, that truly want to make it real in this world, not through crime. All those people are not criminals. 90% of those people just want to make a living. They work harder than they'll work harder than any of us because they truly do know what oppression feels like. They had to leave their home because of the actions of a man in his idea of what was great. And I just hope for them that they're able to get back and get going, living life. Because right now, that's not the way. Maybe it don't work. Maybe everything stays the same, but hell, at least somebody tried something. Because sending mean letters and tweets ain't doing it. That wasn't working. We've seen all that. Allowing things to just go on and on and on and on and fester. Not only is it damaging our country as the United States and as a generation, several generations of people affected by this crap, but you've got people that had to leave their home. Like they didn't just have to move the block. They didn't have like, oh man, they raised the rent on my trailer. And I can say that because I live in a trailer that I turned into a double wide, so I can talk all the trash I want. But they raised the rent on my trailer. I got to move down to the next trailer park. No, that wasn't the way it was. No, they had to relocate countries because this person. So my focus now is on, okay, I hope that this is there's got to be a precipice at every turning point. There's got to be a place where things shift, where there's a shift in momentum. And this is the first time in my adult life, I'm coming on 49. I'll be 49 this next month. And it's the first time in my adult life that I can truly look and see action being took. Right or wrong. Right or wrong. I ain't arguing whether it's right or wrong. It's action being taken. And to me, that beats the hell out of nothing. Because we've seen what nothing gets. It gets our adversaries moving in on our back door, which all of us in common sense can think back to our days of playing board games and Risk and other games and stuff. I mean, just by common knowledge, we would not want that right at our back door. We would not want our enemies taking advantage of us like that. So, however that's achieved, our national security is achieved, the safety and well-being of our kids, of our young adults, people my age, and the people affected by this crap. And most importantly, it gives the hardworking, true, just wonderful human beings an opportunity to go back to their homeland if they choose so fit. And I bet we're good enough that we'll help them get there. I don't know how it works, but I bet if they just truly want to go back and work hard and help build their country back and get going, and they see fit and see that he can do it, every one of them sign on to do it because that's the kind of people that they are. A lot of them are here just working, trying to get by because they had to leave. Man, that would suck. Like, man, I can barely speak English good enough that outside the Appalachian Mountains, I'm understood pretty well. So if they up and relocated me to a different country, oh, I'm out back. I'm a little fella. Like I'm gonna starve. I'll starve before I can figure out how to even ask for something to eat. And I look so poor anyway. People probably think I'm home, but like, get away from me. You know what I mean? Vagrant. So I couldn't even imagine. People that I like that's just I don't even know how people. I don't even know how you do it. I don't know how that. What a set of circumstances, man. It's one thing to have to move down the road. Hell, that's inconvenient enough. Me and my wife, we've said many times, like, we don't never want to move. We don't never want to move again. I hate moving. I hate it. Even when you're upgrading, even when you're like, it still sucks trying to get all your stuff packed up, and you never get everything there without something being gone forever or gone long enough that it may as well been gone forever. You find it 10 years later. And it just is hard. So shout out to them people. I'm hoping and praying that this is a way that maybe the leverage starts back in the other direction for you. And that's all we can do. When I say our people in my position, and I'm a small content creator with a small, wonderful audience, a small audience. All I can do is talk about it my way, bring it to what little bit of light I can bring to it, and bring a common approach, a common sense. Like I'm just looking at it from a common person standpoint. I'm not arguing legalities. And when words get above 2 or 3 syllables for me, then they start getting challenging. So I try to stick to the smaller ones. And I don't care what it's called. I'm just talking from my standpoint, it's a win. It may not be pretty, but it's a win. And, you know, that's it. I've seen a lot of boxing matches that the loser sure as hell looked like the one that was the winner sure as hell looked like the one that was the loser. And by the way, that just by looks, like, man, he's really beat up. But it was the other guy that lost the points and whatever happened and got whooped. So it's like it may not have been pretty, may not have been the way you'd want to call it, or it may not be classified what you think. But remember, there's just as strongly as people feel like they know that this is the way it is, there's another set of people that feel just that strongly. And when I look at it from my angle, I don't try to look at it from a law standpoint. Like I just try to look at it like common sense. Did this ultimately achieve a desired outcome in the manner of that threat's now no longer a threat, and we can put that off to the side and start focusing in on what else might be a threat. And as for the people that were around them, too bad, too sad. That's just the way it goes. Duck, duck, goose. You got it. You lost. Move on. So anyway, yeah, with that being said, man, I'm just sending out once again good vibes, good thoughts to the Venezuelan people and anybody else that called that home or have people there that is been living sucking just a terrible life or whatever, need a change. And I hope this is a way that maybe it starts affecting change, because here at Creating Change, that's what we are all about. I believe in taking a stand. I believe in if you're gonna speak on something, I believe having a little bit of knowledge under your belt and doing your best to see it from both angles. But I also believe in just being common thoughts about things. From my perspective, I have seen all these nice games played. Talking about, you know, uh political means to an end and all this, their rhetoric with, well, we'll sanction it, we'll do that, we'll put a bounty on his head, but then nothing ever happened. Man, I'm sick of the nothing ever happening stuff, and I'm kind of glad we're on the offense these days because we've been on the defense and losing hundreds of thousands of people, man, like a lot more than just any war. And that's sad. That's sad, and we're just now taking the offense. So shout out to President Trump. Shout out to all the team. It may not look pretty, I get it, but it's the desire you're getting something done, and I can appreciate that, whether it looks good or not. At least you're doing something. And there ain't much of them can say that other than run for the television camera as soon as they get done with a meeting or anything like that and start talking smack. And I can't stand that. I can't stand that, man. It's like it's always about the headline. Who's gonna get the juiciest tweet of the day or whatever, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't get into that. I think our politicians have a lot of other work to be doing other than worrying about the camera and the late night interviews and the whatever. It seems like if you're gonna get a couple $100,000 a year, you could be doing a lot of work and doing some stuff instead of having. Did you see the ignorance? Them standing there on the steps again with the candles and their whole get up, looking like some kind of offbeat mixed choir or something, looking dumb as hell. Like, man, y'all know you're adults, right? Somebody did tell you at one point that you are adults. We're not in kindergarten no more. I mean, it's just so silly, the theatrics, man. It's like, my God. Like, somebody needs to be honest within their circle and tell them how ridiculous that stuff looks to just normal people. Like, you're supposed to be on the clock up there working, and that's what you call representing your constituents, is you standing there with some silly looking garb on, and quit it. It just makes no zero sense to me. Makes zero sense to me, other than for the hype, for the views, for the clicks, for the whatever. And anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Shout out to every one of you. I appreciate you, Miss Patty. I see you, Cannon. I see you, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. My name is Guy. This is Creating Change. We were just talking about Maduro and talking about the Venezuelan people. And once again, shout out to you guys. I hope that this is some way going to help with your country and you guys getting back. But moving on, I wanted to shout out young man, Nick Shirley. I don't know the man. Um, I just commend any young person that is willing to take the initiative to do anything. And I can appreciate it. I heard somebody say, I wish I could remember exactly who it was, but they said it was the Trump administration that sent them. Well, who the hell cares who sent them? It's like the whole point is, man, this is some massive fraud going on, guys. This is enough fraud going on there that if they divvied it up to the people that was actually, citizens here and not frauding the system, like they could take care of a lot of people. It's like, I mean, all we're trying to do is point out fraud. If you're not, then okay, then you're not. Get your funding and move on. Shut up. But you should have to, like, just like anybody else, you should have to prove where the money's going. How are you spending it? Where's it going? And I have no problem with that. And if you can't, then, once again, that's why you get the big bucks. You should have hired an accountant and you should have had all these records in place. And everybody knows that. Even in my little town, even my little small ass town, live probably one of the smallest towns in the United States here in the Appalachian Mountains. And even here where I come from, Bet you call any one of what the child care, and they're going to have all these records. They're going to know how many kids are there and, all that kind of stuff. That's just common. So, the argument against who's sent them there, who cares? Stop with that crap. Like, that is so escape. Like, that so escapes the whole real point, the whole real reason. Like, you should care if you're a tax-paying citizen or have family that have been tax-paying citizens or whatever. You should truly be upset that there is that much waste and or fraud and complacency from what we call leaders or what is referred to as leaders. I call them representatives. There are representatives. They refer to them as leaders. They're supposed to be leading this charge, or they're running their stuff. And you got all these people taken from you? Like, either you're a wimp and won't stand up, or you're in on it. And a lot of these people's salaries is unbelievable when you start looking at their net worth from one year to the next and how they make, like, man, some of these people truly go in worth less than what I'm worth. Like, and then in a couple of years, they're worth millions. Like, I'm all about it. Like, if you can make money at it, like, all right, but like, man, like little bit of audit explanation and everything should be like, man, it stands to reason. Like, man, how'd you do that? Share it with the rest of us so we know how to do it too. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, let us know how you're doing so some of us can repeat, wash, rinse, and repeat. I ain't mad at you. I'm just saying that, I hope you're doing it right. But it just seems kind of hard to me for, it to be right to make that much. I mean, but maybe it is. What do I know? I don't know. I've never had that kind of money, so I wouldn't know. So, hey, elevated. I see Epstein kidnapped when I was 11. Showed me. Well, that's too bad, but as if with everything, man, I guess, you just gotta, that one's in the chronicles of history too. He's gone. So you ain't gotta worry about that one no more. Hey, it's good to see you too, though, elevated, man. Thanks for stopping in, man. We were talking about Maduro because I have a personal issue with the whole drug epidemic. I was involved in that crap and wound up doing several years of my life in prison because of it. So I'm glad to see something being done, and I got a lot of friends that's dead and a lot of friends that's looks like death and still suffering because of some of that crap that just keeps on flooding our little town right here. And I'm glad to see some action being done. So just had to talk about that. But I was shouting out Nick Shirley because, man, I'm just glad to see. I think the dude's 23 years old. Looks like just a regular old, looks about like my young man. He's 15, but but he's got the gumption to say, okay, well, I'm at least gonna go. I mean, all you got to, it's not like you're doing anything. You just go film and like even I know how to spell learning most of the time. If I sound it out, I can definitely get it. And you're sitting there and like you can put the video on pause so you can check it for yourself and see that it ain't even spelled right. And then you start looking into some of these things and you start looking into some of these random places that are calling themselves childcare places. Well, it starts to get pretty. I mean, that doesn't mean that all of them are. To me, I don't know that. I wouldn't suspect that all of them are. There's got to be some legit ones. There's too many parents and stuff that live around there. But for those that are, and for those that are in the right and are doing things right, they won't even affect them. They'll turn their stuff in, they'll get the money. But for those that ain't doing right and don't have the proper records, well, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I hate for that to be the theme of this live stream, but that's just the way it is. You're playing with kids' lives, you're playing with parents' lives, and you're also playing with taxpayers' money's lives. It's not really your money. You should be a good steward of it. It's not yours. That's not your money just to go buy rings or buy whatever and waste and send somewhere else and not spend it on what you said it was going to be spent on. And to me, if you got the records that you're supposed to have, like every other one, like not just for this instance, you're supposed to keep them all the time. And if you ain't got them, well, then I guess that'll kind of force a stop on it. I reckon you'll be figuring out how to get them records together. I know one time I needed my title for my vehicle and I couldn't find that thing for like 6 years. You know what? When I needed it, I found it. I was able to get it. It's because I had it. So if you have it, find it, get your pay. If not, welcome to the real world. Your free money goes away. If you're not spending on where it's going, then it's gone. And I'm just a believer that, hey, if you're going to be ignorant enough to take advantage of other people's money that's not yours and not do right by it, I don't really care where you're from. To me, don't matter. You messed up. Just like everybody else. You should have to pay. You should have to definitely pay for that. You know what I mean? So it's like I I just don't even feel like how it's even an argument on the side of like if it's fraud, it needs to go. And all fixes ain't pretty. Any of you that's been a parent knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's times I have to some of the proudest moments of as a dad that I've ever had is those quiet times where I know my child is doing something I asked him to do that he really didn't want to, but he went and did it anyway because that's what a real man's going to do his whole life. He's going to do things that he probably didn't really want to have to do, but because he's got a family and he loves them and he wants to take care of them, he's going to do it anyway. So to me, all fixes don't have to be pretty, and they're not going to be pretty. And there's always going to be that. Well, what about these that we're doing right? Well, okay, if you are, then things will get straightened out, and you'll get your money. But right now, there's got to be a fix, and the fix it's going to have to be some accountability as to where you're spending and what you're doing. That would go with anybody, anywhere. So to me, I have no problem with it. I think it's cool. Uh, Make people show where the money's being spent and whether it's being spent on what they said it was being spent on. And if you don't, that's fine. You know, I just hope that you never have money involved in anything and it doesn't get spent on what you think it was going to, and then have to feel that feeling of like, well, damn, I just wasted that because that's basically what the taxpayers are doing because this is federal tax dollars. That ain't state. So it's not just like, well, it only affects Minnesotan people or only affects these people. No, man, that's federal dollars. It affects everybody. And even if it didn't, it still affects everybody. It no matter what state, no matter where it's at, if it's fraud, the more fraud we can cut out, the more we should be able to do for our people if we have the right people representing us. They're not our leaders, they're our representatives. The more fraud, the more abuse, the more stuff like that we can cut out of these systems, the better it should be for the people that actually have to be on those systems. And the more that should inspire our representatives to be on board with cutting this fraud and abuse. Now, I'm all about figuring out maybe prettier ways. But right now, until there's a prettier way, let's just do away. Let's just get something happening. It's just like being a small content creator. You start out, you don't know what you're doing, but you just got to start somewhere. Well, same way with cleaning up waste, fraud, and abuse. In this situation, I feel like that by and it wasn't him that really exposed it. It was him that made people ingest it by putting it out there where there was younger folks. There was a different way of getting them because none of our media was going to go cover it. And I wonder why. Is it just because of Orange Man bad? Like, did they not realize, like, he's not going to be there in another couple of years, and we still have a country of people. It's not just about him. Like, they have give this man so much power just in their own brains that it's like it blows my mind because, man, just because you don't agree with something that somebody does, man, just calling people evil and calling people this and you obviously are living in a bubble. You know what the most beautiful free speech in the world is? It's the speech that you don't like, because that lets you know that you're living in a place where it is allowed to speak your mind and you're allowed to have your own thoughts. And if you run for an office and you get elected by the people, then they do allot you the opportunity to do things in some ways as you see fit. And just because you don't like it doesn't make somebody evil. And just because maybe you don't see the premise behind it, or you don't understand. Well, there's a lot of things I don't understand, but I understand action and I understand movement and I understand something being done. And I can understand when somebody's actually, putting their actions to the front. Like, hey man, let's do something. Get something accomplished. Because this crap, this mealy mouth stuff and this fighting back and forth, man, what a waste of taxpayer dollars that is. These people spend more of their time trying to figure out how to mess with the other one than they actually do to try. And anytime you see a vote and it is straight party line vote, that means that there's a lot of people up there not doing their job. Because you can't tell me that everybody in your area all leans one way, all leans to that. As a politician, you're supposed to be trying to figure out how to work for all your constituents. And if you're only voting one party line, you're only one sided all the time, and you're not looking the other direction, you ain't doing your job. Because ain't none of you live in a district where it's just all one party line. There is all kinds of people. And once you get elected, you're to represent all those people. That R, D, or I, or all that horse nonsense. You should just be an American that's representing a district at that point. It shouldn't even matter. If it works for your people and your people are needing it, that's why that we have the individualism of states, is so that, there's opportunities for things to be a little different in one that fits a different demographic than what's in the other. And you just see this straight party line vote. And it's like, man, you just know it's so sickening because they're not doing their job if that's the case. I just want to see people help, truly trying to help their people, even if they fail. A try is better than spending your time trying to put the other side down or trying to gain power or trying to win an election. It's like that's all it's about. If you put on the mainstream news, then it has already been election cycle since the last election. It's nonstop. There's never an opportunity for unification. There's never an opportunity for people to work together. And it's always one has to run out to the microphone and say, well, I didn't get nothing from that meeting. That was I think, Mr. President Trump, if you happen to hear this, sir, then all these meetings that you have, these cabinet meetings where it's supposed to be to, like, brief these people on. If there's any way that you're not sharing, like, classified information, then why don't you just film that? Because all of them run out with some kind of spin on it anyway. And then it leaves all of us not knowing what the hell what's going on. So why not just authorize it that when you're going to give these briefings to Mr. Schumer, who old crying Chuck, and Hakeem, what a joke. That ain't no straight party line vote. You don't do nothing. It's all about battling Trump. All about that. Mr. Trump, just start filming letting the film just so that then they don't have to come out to the microphone, because we'd rather not hear from Chuck Schumer anyway. So that way, and Eric Swalwell wouldn't have to flop out to the microphone to give his speech and try to hold in his flatulence, and we could just know what was said. And in that way, there is no running out to the microphone on some of these meetings and letting them spin whatever way they want to spin. Like, let the American people hear exactly what you tell them, exactly what their briefing was, so that can then shine a light on how either they're spinning it or they're not. Because I ain't seen one where the other comes out and says, well, I appreciate the meeting and I learned a lot, and it was so. No, it's always some kind of world's coming to an end. He's doing it. Man, and these poor ICE agents, man, you guys, I know that lady got killed, and I hate that there's any loss of life, as I said before, but I got to touch on this. These people do not make these laws. If you want to protest, go up there to Congress and protest. Go to your representative and protest and have them change the law. These people are minions in the cycle. Like, they don't get to pick and choose what they enforce. So just stop. That is such a stupid waste of life and risk of life for nothing. These people do not have no say. They no more. It's just like if I work at Walmart and my manager comes to me and says, I want you to work in the produce aisle, and I say, I don't like being cold. He's going to say, I don't give a shit. Get to work. Same. These people do what they're told to do, and they don't get to decide that. So you're risking your life and risking their life. This looks like some battlefield stuff. You call it protesting, but there's stuff being thrown, objects being tossed, people yelling in their face, and they're trying their best to get these people arrested without incident, and then put in a position where they have to cause and where incidents are caused. Like, and it's not even you're fighting with the wrong people. Go to your representative. Tell them you want the law changed. Tell them you want something different done. But leave those people alone. They don't get to make that choice. They're doing their job. And they're doing a damn good job. Get the people out of here. If you can't follow our laws and you can't respect our country well enough to abide by them laws, then go. Hit the road, Jack. And if you're a rapist or a child molester or whatever it is, be gone. You know, that's like common. You know what? And if there's a few people that get arrested that were on some minor charges, well, then so be it. Got to go. Every fix ain't pretty, but it's a fix. Get them gone. And for those that want to sneak across our border and take advantage of that situation, well, so be it. You made it. Now let's see how long you last. That's the game you started playing when you crossed the border and didn't do it right. I don't care if the rules are fair or not. Doesn't matter to me. To be a true sovereign country, we have to have laws. And there's a lot of laws I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with. But it's the law. Okay, whatever. Well, same. It's the only thing that separates us. And for those that want to come here and abuse our properties and abuse our home and burn the very flag that gives you the right to stand and talk any nonsense that you want, then you be gone too. You should be thankful to be in a country where you are allowed to speak those things. You're allowed to speak your mind, but you start burning our stuff and start taking advantage of our stuff, well, then you can be gone too. feel that way about any of them, any of 'em, anybody. If that's the way you're gonna be, then society don't need you. Go on. And some of these people, I don't know how you could even defend them being in your neighborhood. I don't want them in mine. I don't want them in mine. I'm glad y'all want 'em. For those of y'all that want 'em, I'm glad you want them because I don't. I don't want none of them. And for those of you parents out there that's had to suffer the loss of your child or loved ones, then I hate that for you. And that ain't right. And it shouldn't happen. Shouldn't be here. And yep, there's gonna be some that have to suffer that maybe they just got caught up in the tailwind. Well, so is a lot of us, and that's the way it works. That's the way it works. Blame the people that, you know, give you the right across, I guess. Whatever it is you wanna blame. But you get caught up in it, you're getting a chance to go back. If you wanna go back, I suggest that's what you do. But if you get caught, then that's just what happens. That's the game, right? That's the game you choose to play. Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's the theme of tonight's live stream. Welcome to Creating Change. If you don't mind, hit the like button. If not, I really don't care. Just appreciate y'all being here. If you haven't already, let me know what you think about this situation. I haven't been able to keep up with everybody's comments, but I appreciate everybody chiming in, whether you agree with me or not. I don't care, man. We're all human beings. It's like I don't take none of it personal. So, you don't have to get too awful foul about it because I'm just gonna laugh it off, man. If you get too foul about it, I'm just gonna try to put you on Front Street and make you look stupid. So we just try to keep it fair and objective. I'm allowed to speak my mind just like everybody else allowed to speak their mind. But I would appreciate it for those of you that are new here, man, just be mindful of the text and stuff. I don't care what you have to say, but you know, uh, you don't have to drop the F bomb all the time or be too awful nasty. I do have parents and don't know if there's youngsters or not. So just try to be fair about that, please. I don't care what you say. You can not like me and you can tell me how bad you dislike me. Uh, but I'll challenge you to find a better word to use to describe your feelings towards me. But anyway, yeah, man, I know it's one of them topics that there's going to be a lot of us that don't agree on things, but I think we all can agree that there was a stop that needed to be done with the amount of drugs and stuff that's been pouring into this country, the United States. There had to be something happen because we've been losing hundreds of thousands of people, and something had to stop. Well, I don't know what the right way to do it was, but what I can say is at least I can see action, and I'm just glad that there's some type of way coming to a stop. And as for this Nick Shirley young man, I don't know him. Shout out to you, brother. Keep up the good work. I know you don't know me, but if you do happen to see this, I just want you to know that I brought you up just because I think it's worthy of letting a young man or woman know when they're doing something extraordinary. And these days, just to see somebody take the initiative and decide to do something and believe in what their mission is strongly enough to carry forward and do it, then I commend you for that. And I know that you knew what kind of ridicule you'd get, and I knew you knew what kind of blowback you would get in some sort of way. And maybe it's been bigger than what you were expecting, but I believe you could have made a silent film. You could have took all words out of your film and just shown the footage, and we all would have understood exactly what was being said, and you can't ask for a better documentary than that. And then to, bring it to life and let us be able to see for ourselves. Make up your own mind. If you don't think that's what you see, then, well, okay. But I appreciate that, and good job. Shout out to you. Glad that you did what you did, and I'm glad that now, whether the fix is pretty, whether the start is pretty, doesn't matter to me. At least there's something being brought to light. And as for the representatives in that state and that district, I hope that I hope that it I hope you were too stupid to know what was going on, because it would really suck to think that you knew it was going on and you took that kind of money from the Minnesota people or the American people. Both. We're both one the same to me. So, I hope that I just hope that everything can get figured out, however that is, and that as fewer people have to, lose in the situation. I know there's going to be people that don't deserve to lose, that have to, but there's also going to be people that deserve to get caught, hopefully, get caught up and have to pay their dues on, you know, uh, what's going on. So, with that being said, I don't know anything, guys. I have my opinion on things. I educate myself through the information that's available to all public. I don't have any kind of, confidential information that I'm able to be privy to. So, I only come at you with things that I can be educated on clearly through looking at different avenues, looking up different sources, and looking up what other people are saying, and then making my own mind up. These days, you got film out there. Like, you don't have to take nobody's word on anything anymore. If you want to know how you feel about something, you can find the information out, and most time find a video to go along with it. Like, you don't even have to put clues together; they'll put them together for you. The videos there. So I just encourage everybody that, man, when you're making these decisions about how you feel about these things, like, it's cool to feel a certain way, but it's also cool for there to be another way that's felt. And like, nobody gives you the right, just because you don't agree with them, to be ever violent or, to me, I don't think there's any room for disrespect. Like, if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, a true conversation with somebody, you don't start it out by calling them names. I know that I'm dealing with a weak individual when somebody starts out by calling me names. I know that I'm starting a conversation with somebody that I'm going to have to give a little bit to, because they're not ready. They're not ready for the true debate. They're in their feelings already, and we ain't even got started talking. We haven't started talking numbers. We haven't started talking a side of view that maybe they haven't seen. And you know that if they're already in their feelings before you ever get started talking, just because maybe they think you're a Republican, or they think you're a Democrat, or they think you're an independent, whatever they think you are, then I just know. And I hate to say it, there's a lot of our representatives that are weak people. It takes that kind of foul language for them to get through their day, because they really have not spent the time it takes to understand the situation and be willing to be humble enough to change when need be, and being humble enough to vote for things that the people they represent want them to vote for, and not necessarily the things that they personally want to vote for. It's not about them. Once you're a representative, it's not about you no more. It's about the people you represent. So, it's not about uh, how you think a vote should be. It's about how your constituents and in a pool of thought, how they think it should be, with some give and some take. And in every deal, there's going to be somebody that walks away maybe with less than they thought they would get when they walked in, and the other the same. But the art of it is trying to make both people happy enough to make a deal. Like, you cannot make a deal when you won't even, like, you can look you'll see it when they show it on, like, they'll show it on TV, a picture of our house or Congress or whatever, and you'll see the aisle go right straight up, and like, one side of they'll be sitting there all stiff necked and everything, won't even look over. Hey, they wouldn't even, the one side wouldn't even clap. The Democrats, the last time, that little fellow that's got the cancer, and his daddy travels him all over to go get, like, uh to be like a honorary cop, which is awesome. And the young man is just like, he's my kid's age, so it's like just super cool to see him. That it's inspiring. But, like, I mean, they didn't even have it in like, they wouldn't even clap for that. Like, guys, that's weak, man. I mean, come on, you know, there's gotta be a human point at which where it's like, "Get," "Come on, guys. Like, quit it," you know? There's nothing getting done like that. Nothing. So, for those of you that do want you know, to see change made, a lot of times the change that's gonna be made is not gonna be pretty. A lot of times it's not gonna be the gold standard of the way that maybe in your mind you have it worked out to be. But I know from my standpoint that when I'm not educated enough to truly know how a watch works, then I probably don't need to be taking the back off of it. And that's kind of how I feel about analyzing somebody else's job. From a average person's standpoint, who the hell am I to sit back and Monday morning quarterback what these elite trained individuals had to do to accomplish this mission, right or wrong? What actually had to go into that to actually take place, you know? So, I just before we find ourselves doing too much Monday morning quarterbacking about what should or shouldn't be, are you anywhere as close to being in a position where you could ever even think about uttering an order to carry anything like that out? And if you're not, probably don't have no right taking the back off that watch, if you know what I mean. So, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. My name is Guy. This is Creating Change. Whether you like how I feel about things. I hope that you can respect that. I just have a certain way that I feel about it, but that doesn't mean that I don't, respect somebody just because they don't disagree with how I feel about a certain thing does not mean I dislike them as a human being or that I hate them or that I don't wish the best for them or that I don't want their family to do well. And I think all of us should get a little bit more of that in us. Let's disagree and then thumb wrestle or something, and get over ourselves, because without each other, there ain't none of us really matter anyway. Be kind of lonely, So, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. I'll be back next week, Wednesday, 9 o'clock for this week in review. I don't know what exactly will be happening. I'm going to try and touch on some topics that just stick out in my head in the way that I see fit, and soon to be coming with another day of something else going on. But I'll be sharing that with you here in the near future. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe if you feel so led. But if not, just know I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I appreciate you just being a part of the audience. And for those of you that I couldn't get to the comments and stuff, guys, it goes by so fast, then I don't get to see them all, but I appreciate all of them, and I really do. All of you guys, Gen X brother, appreciate you, man. If you haven't been, go check him out. Nizzy Nay, I see you down there, and I don't know how to pronounce everybody's name, but guys, I see y'all. I appreciate it, even if you don't like me. I appreciate it anyway. Whether you like me or not, if you was here typing in my comments, you give me some view time, and I just appreciate that. Whether you wanted to or not, you did. So I appreciate you doing that. And I'll be back next Wednesday, and you can fire off on me some more, and we'll highlight what we can along the way. But just know that just because you know, we don't see eye to eye on everything doesn't mean that maybe we couldn't have a good conversation about some sports, or I don't care, that we can't care about, the future of our families, and hopefully all of us in some sort of way get to grow and prosper just a little bit before we go back to the dirt we came from. So, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. I'll see you next Wednesday. Till next time, guys. Let me set y'all a intro here. All right, guys, a little song called Just So Many Miles Between Us. Appreciate y'all. Just so many miles between us, there can be so many more. Been so long since I've seen you, some I've never seen before. Well, I make a promise to myself, God knows I'll keep. I won't let the miles between us be so long in between. It's worth every rest time. And Daddy, I need to pee, so my son can be around the ones that mean so much to me. Well, I want him to know you and love you all just like me. I won't let the miles between us be so long in between. As the miles go by, my mind begins to go to the memories I've made from so many years ago. And I make a promise to myself, God knows I'll keep. I won't let the miles between us be so long in between. It's worth every rest time, and Daddy, I need to be, so my son can be around the ones that mean so much to me. Well, I want him to know you and love you all just like me. I won't let the miles between us be so long in between. I won't let the miles between us be so long in between.